Hey everyone and welcome back to VFX Vibe once again. In today's video we are going to see second part of our ongoing series, which is Nuke 401. In today's video we are going to see how we can export our tracking data to Maya, how we can do scene setup, how we can add a basic HDRI light, and also how we are going to do our texture setup. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Okay, as you can see over here, I have my all tracking setup, and where you can see easily we have done our tracking, our lens distortion and our mesh as well. So before exporting anything, I'm going to tell you something that this is my footage and the resolution of this footage is 2K DCP, and once I'm going to undistort it, we are having a bounding box, right? So before exporting our mesh or before exporting our camera, we need to take care about overscanned data as well. So how we can calculate overscanned data? Let's see. So here we have two numbers like 2095 and 1105. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open my calculator. So this is the number of x-axis, which is 2095 plus, but this is the y-axis information. So another number we have in x-axis is minus 47, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to plus 47. So the number will be 2142, right? So I'm going to take a notepad and I'm going to calculate something like 2142 in x-axis, and same way we have to calculate for y-axis. So since we have y-axis 25, so 25 plus, and again I'm going to see 1105. So another value will be plus 1105. So total value will be 1130. So 1130 in y-axis. So this calculation will help you to render overscan data from Maya. Okay. So apart from that, we need not to take care about anything, and also we have to re-render our undistorted plate as well, right? So already you know how to render. So just you have to add a right node and you can render in sequence named undistorted, right? So I'm not going to do that because already you are knowing it. Apart from that, I'm going to export my 3D data. So how I can do that? Just tab right geo. This will be right geo, and I'm going to connect in my scene node, and in right geo node I'm going to save my file, and that file will be over here in comp. And in comp, I'm going to make another folder called export, and here I'm going to call it cam.fbx. I'm going to export it in FBX, right? And in FBX, probably I don't have light, so I'm not going to switch it on. I don't have access, so I'm not going to switch it on. So I have geometry, cameras and point clouds, and I'm going to switch on ASCII files because I feel it's better to switch it on. And after doing everything, I'm going to execute it. So it will ask execute 11. No, I want to execute global, which is 0 to 149, and I'm going to hit OK. So once this is done, your camera and your scene is exported. So let's jump to Maya and let's see how we can scene setup in Maya. Okay, so here we are inside Maya, and let's see how we can call our camera and mesh data which we have exported from Nuke, right? So to import that data, I will go over here, and in part 2 I have comp, export, cam FBX, and directly I can drag and drop. So what will happen, automatically your camera and your mesh data will come, and if I am going to see through my camera, I'm getting this. Probably you are having very large point cloud. So what I can do, I can go over here and I can select all my locators, and I will hit R on keyboard and I will scale it down, something like that as per my requirement. And if I'm going to see through my perspective, I am getting this, and if I'm going to play it, you can easily see my camera is moving. If I'm going to see through my camera and if I'm going to play it, You can easily see your camera is moving. Now it's time to call my sequence, which is overscanned sequence. So how I can do that? Just go over here. I will select my camera. I will go over here and image plane. Let's click on import image. So here my sequences, I'm going to select one. I'm going to hit open, and after doing it, you can see it's not playing. Character is still. So what I have to do, I have to just click on use image sequence. So what will happen? Your image sequence will play and my mesh is pretty rock solid, you can see. And if I'm going to play it, you can easily see I am having my camera set up pretty well. Now next thing is to import my 3D asset, which is our character. So how I can do that? Let's see. It's pretty simple. Either you can drag and drop or you can import it. So let's go over here, file, import, and here we have this thing. I'm going to import it, and probably it is very large inside. So I'm going to perspective. As you can see, it's pretty large. So I'm going to, first thing first, I'm going to delete my ground plane. To match scaling, it's not recommended to scale our animated character. So to fix it, I'll go over here and I will select my camera. I will select my objects, which I have, and I'm going to group it, Control G, and probably I'll name it camera group, right? And here in my camera group, I'll go through my camera one view. I'll select camera group and I'll hit R and I'll start scaling my camera group. So what will happen? Automatically you can see it seems like my character is scaling down, but right now I'm not scaling down my character, I'm scaling down my scene, something like that. And probably I think this is the best place. So I'm getting very good result. So keep it in mind that I scaled my scene rather than scaling my character, right? Let's jump to my perspective view and you can easily see my scene is all set up. So what next? So next is I will add my HDRI light, right? So how to add our HDRI light? It's pretty basic. I'm going in Arnold, in lighting, and I'm going to use my sky dome light. And in sky dome light, probably I will go to attribute editor, and in color, I'm going to select a texture, something like that. And in texture, I'm going to select a HDRI, which is Burnt Warehouse 4K. I'm going to open it. And I will put this area, light emitting area, to match my this thing, right? So probably I will scale it up so that I can have my this data over here, right? So if I'm going over here in my camera shape, so I can easily see I have to put my light coming from door part over here, right? So what I can do, I can just hit E and let me rotate it. And if I'm going to see through perspective, I can easily see, I'm not able to see anything. So just select camera, and over here in near and far plane, just add some 0. So what will happen? Automatically it will come, right? So but keep it in mind, you have to select your perspective camera, right? So yes, probably I'll rotate a little, something like that. So suppose that I want to light this portion with my HDRI light. And if I'm going to do a test render, let's see what's coming. Camera shape 1, and let's hit 1 render. So probably nothing will come because I haven't applied any texture on it, but you can easily see a pretty basic lighting is coming, something like that. And my character is lit, right? So let me add some texture to it. So how I can do that? It's pretty simple. So before adding texture, I am going to do few things, right? So in my render setting, I'm going over here, if you remember, and over here I'm going to change my width and height, right? So the new width and height will be 2142 1130. So I'm going to put 2142 and 1130. And if I'm going to see through my camera. So this will be my setup, right? And one more thing I'm going to do, I'm going in my perspective and I'm going to select my camera. Let me check where my camera is. Here is my camera and I'm going to lock it, lock selected, because I don't want to move my camera accidentally, something like that. So that will be good, right? So if I'm going to play it now, it's coming pretty fine, right? And let me start with adding some texture to it, right? So as you can see over here in my render view, I'm getting this thing, right? So probably I'm not needing this mesh. So I'm going to delete it. And I don't want to see this mesh, but I want to see the shadow, right? So to do that, I'm going to select this, right click over here, assign new material, and I'm going to select Arnold shader, and that will be my AI shadow matte, right? So what will happen? Only shadow will capture, nothing else will come. So just to check, let me go over here and let me take a snapshot. And if I'm going to render again, and as you can see, only I'm getting my shadows, right? So don't worry about these things. Eventually it will be fixed. So let me start adding texture to my character so that it will look better, right? So first thing first, what I'm going to do, let's go to perspective. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this object because I don't need it. And over here, I'm going in my group and probably I'll select helmet, right? Let's hit F and I'll start texturing my helmet, right? So in helmet, right click, material or assign new material. I'm going in shader and I'm going to add AI standard surface, and an AI standard surface, I'm going to name it helmet, right? So after that, I'm going to open my hypershade, right? And here we have lots of material. So I'm going over here in edit and delete unused nodes. I'm going to do. So here I have my helmet setup and I'm going to switch it on, right? I'll start importing my textures and I'll let you know how I can do it, right? So here in my source images, you can see I have all my textures, right? So I'll start with helmet. So let me figure it out where my helmet is. So this is my helmet normal, helmet base color. So what I'll do, I'll just drag my base color, right? And here I have my base color and base color will go to my base color, right? Base color. And in base color, if you want to see, you can go over here and you can solo it. So you can easily see over here. So I don't want to see Arnold, or probably I'll see hardware. So this is my base setup, right? But here's the trick. If you'll see my textures, I am having my Spartan helmet ambient occlusion as well. So I'll drag my ambient occlusion as well. And what I'll do, I'll just take a multiply node, AI multiply, and I will add one color over here and second color will be here, and I'll do this. Now I'll add my base color to this. So what will happen? Your ambient occlusion data also will be multiplied with my base texture, right? So if I'm going to see over here, let's see through camera, or probably let's see through perspective. It's looking pretty nice. And if I'm going to check my render, and probably through perspective camera, you can easily see, it will take some time. You can easily see I'm having my texture. So don't worry why it's coming, because I haven't added any extra light, right? So let me go to camera view 1 and let me rotate my this thing. Probably let me do this way. And let's test the render. So it's not hard and fast. Let me render through my camera view, and if you easily see, this is something I'm getting. So let's adjust my HDRI light So I'm going to select it, and probably I'll go over here, and resolution should be 4000 because it's my 4K thing. And I'm going to lower down my intensity by probably 0.5, something like that. And now let's check. So probably I'm getting something dark kind of stuff. I'll rotate one more time, and probably I'll do this. So I'm adjusting my light. I want to light come from somewhere here. And to support this, just go perspective, in my perspective, and I'm going to take another area light. Let's hit R. Just to see my texture, I'm not doing lighting and anything. Just to see my texture, I'm going to put this light, something like this, right? And probably I need to adjust my intensity as well. So I'm going to adjust exposure by 15 or 20, not this much, like 12. So as you can see, or probably 15, it's again hit and run. I can do every time. So you can easily see my texture is coming something like this, but I need to add few more things, right? So apart from this, in my hyper shade, I'm going to just select this and only see this, right? I'm going to add few more textures, like I have my metallic, I'm going to import it. And metallic, since metallic is a gray data, if you can see over here, gray data, I can easily see I can use only one channel, like something like this. I'm going to probably, I'll select this and I'll use color space. Might be I have to change it. I can use it like raw and alpha luminance. Let me check where it is. Alpha is luminance, and in single color channel I'm going to use, let me make some space over here, and probably I'll add it in metalness, right? And if I'm going to render one more time, let's say it's coming something like that, right? Also, what I can do, I can quickly add my roughness to it. So here I have a roughness map, right? So I can add my roughness map, and same way I can select this. I can do raw, alpha to luminance, and single channel. And roughness I'm going to use at two places. Like this will be my specular roughness as well, and this will be my diffuse roughness as well. So you can test and try. And now if I'm going to render it, it's now starting taking shape, right? Apart from that, I have my metalness or specular. So let me do that. Let me import my specular as well. Let me import it, something like that. Minimize it. This is my specular, and specular again is a gray data. So I can do one thing. Let's use the way it is, right? So I'm going over here, and probably I'll use a different, in fact only color I'm going to use, and I'm going to use my specular color, right? Or probably specular, I can use vice versa. It's all up to you. Just let me test and try. And now if you can see, it's coming pretty fine. Now I need to tweak few more things, right? But this is the way how I will start texturing my whole stuff. So let me texture all my elements, and I'll come back once this is done. Okay, so here I added few more lights, but don't worry, in next session I'm going to explain each and every light. So here let me go my render view, and if I'm going to render now with all my texture, it will take some time. And let me do few more things, like I'm going over here and I'm going to select my camera, and I'm going in my image plane attributes, and I'm going to do RGBA. Now if I'm going to render this thing, so you can easily see I am getting everything textured and everything is coming pretty nice. So I showed you the way how I'm adding textures. Same way I added textures to all the parts, and hopefully it's pretty much clear to you. So I think this is it for today's video. I know video is too long, but that's the way how you have to learn from scratch, right? So I hope this video will help you to understand the process of exporting data from Nuke and importing it in Maya and importing your 3D assets to Maya as well, and doing basic lighting, HDRI lighting, and adding texture to it. So I hope this video will help you to understand the process. And if you think that this video is helping you, please don't forget to like this video, share this video, and if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe. With this said, this is VFX Vibe signing off. Have a good day.